Huh?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the late night version of our show, and I got my brother Hebot with me, man. I got my brother Hebot, and we're gonna talk about video games this damn late at night. Well, you know, which I hit up Hebot like, "Hey, man, you want to join me?" He said, "Yeah." So we gonna talk about this because there are a couple things, two things that I kind of want to talk about. Hebot. One is the Xbox game
Yeah.
price, and the other one was that news about Phil Spencer's tweet about Call of Duty on Nintendo. But before we get into all that, man,
Right.
let's introduce yourself.
Yeah, guys, it's your boy Hebot coming at you, like always, with the unlimited truth. Uh, another late night edition, obviously. See what's going on. And talk about the subjects real quick. Do a
Hmm.
little quick, you know, talk about what's going on in the hypocrisy, obviously.
Yeah,
But hopefully, uh, we'll get the point across, and it won't be too long, and people could check it out.
yeah. Hopefully, that's the plan. And
Yeah.
you know what? Let's start with the big news that hit yesterday, and that was the price increase on Xbox games. And I feel like this needs context, Hebot. I feel like that this needs a lot of
Mhm.
context
A lot
because
of context.
everybody wants to treat this news as a one to one, right? As a one to one comparison to say Sony increasing prices, right? But I think it's important to point a couple things out, and the first one I'm going to point out, Hebot, is that Microsoft. First of all, 2 years ago, I said that I think cross-gen games are going to support smart delivery going to be $60, and the next gen only games will be 70. That
Hmm.
was my prediction 2 years ago, and as you see on screen, September 20th or September
Yeah, I
19th.
remember the tweet. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember the tweet.
and the reason I'm pointing this out is because you know how it is. Hebot Xbox does anything, and everybody loses their mind, right? and,
Absolutely.
and that's why I like to come on when people are losing their mind and tell everybody to calm down. Let's think it out. Let's talk it out, and then at the end of the day, we go back to our lives, hopefully a little smarter, a little more rational to how things were, because
Right.
this is just here's just some facts.
Hmm.
Microsoft is the last major publisher to increase their games,
That's right.
right? We
Yep.
look, and this is another important fact: only their next gen games are $70, and that's why I put on screen God of War Ragnarok. As you could see, Sony and plenty of other publishers out there were selling
Hmm.
games at both 50 or 60 and $70, depending on what console you own.
Right. Or even charging for the upgrades. Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
At one
Which is
point.
even more outrageous, right? Uh, Even games like Madden, which is currently on sale, the last gen version is is more expensive than the current gen.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, people want us to sit there and be mad
And
at Microsoft for these $100 million games like Starfield or Redfall or
hmm
Forza. That
hmm
and here's another thing, Hebot. Every one of those Microsoft games are going to be day one where.
on Game Pass. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that a little bit important? Don't you think that's a big difference compared to the rest of the industry and their video game prices?
Well, absolutely. That's the whole reason why they created it. They wanted to create options. And the whole reason why I keep telling you, and I have this argument with my kids, my two sons, every day,
Hmm.
because they don't understand. The whole reason why it exists is because from day one, when Phil made that statement like 8 years ago,
Hmm.
that console exclusive are not enough to sustain money for companies, right?
Right,
They're not sustainable. They don't sell enough, right?
right.
Because the cost was going up. And when you're doing these games that are high value, high production,
Hmm.
meaning you're spending millions of dollars, like supposedly they spend 500 million, quote unquote, on Halo, right? For
Right.
example, right? Which I think that's including marketing and all that other stuff. I don't think that's just the development.
You're right. It does include marketing budget.
I believe so, right?
No, no, not believe so. You're actually 100% correct when
Okay.
you say that. Yeah.
So when you have a game that costly, right? What people don't get, and that's why I made that comment to. Oh no, it's Alex. That's why I did that comment to him.
Thank you for reminding me, because we got to talk about that comment after this.
Right, because he was trying to make it sound to the guy. Why you think is that the game was $70 and then shortly afterwards they bring it down in price? I was like, the only time a game goes down in price is when the game is not selling. Mm-hmm. Bayonetta is a perfect example. A week after it came out, it went down to 43 and change when it was originally 60 because the game is not selling. You know how I know the game's not selling? Because Nintendo hasn't released no numbers.
Right.
And the game's been out more than 2 months. That's how you know. When a game doesn't sell, it goes down in price immediately. You know how else I know? When you were trying to buy Sea of Thieves when it first came out for Xbox for the first 3 years, you went into GameStop. You went into Walmart. You went into Best Buys. You went into any outlet that sells physical copies and medium to copies of games. And Sea of Thieves was fucking $60. It never went down in price, even though it was on Game Pass. Because it was, people were buying it because it was the streaming game. It was bringing a lot of views, so it kept selling. Once it dwindled down and it stopped selling, that's when you saw that the game started going to $40. And I think now it's down to like $25 and still $25, right?
For a 5-year-old game, that's not bad.
Yes, right. And it's still, again, where is it? On Game Pass. Because that's how it's always been. Why you think when they try to sell these retro games that are back compat, immediately when they put them on the back compat bracket, right? They go up in price and value because they're out of print. They're not making them anymore, and they're a hot commodity.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing with games that sell. When games sell and they're a hot commodity, the price doesn't go down ever. That's why I always told people, and I always knew. That's how I knew when a game on PlayStation didn't do well. Right? For example, when Spider-Man comes out, you can go look this up. This is all facts because I've done it multiple times. The first month it came out in the month of September, Spider-Man was number 1 in the charts, right? The month of October, it went down to number 8, right?
Right.
Then that month of November, which was that Black Friday, right? It wasn't in the charts. Why wasn't it in the charts? Because they did that $199 bundle. They sold almost 6 million copies of that bundle or units of that bundle with Spider-Man given to everybody that bought that bundle for free. Wow. Right? Then when you go check December, Spider-Man is not in the charts again. Then you go in January, Spider-Man is not in the charts again. Then you go to February, March, not in the charts. When you go to April, Spider-Man is automatically in the charts again. Why? Because it was on sale for $40 for that whole month.
Right.
Then it disappeared again for the month of May. And then once June hit, guess what? You saw Spider-Man in the charts again. Why was that? Because they did that E3 sale where Spider-Man was $20. So you see the pattern. It only sells when the game is on sale or given for free in high numbers. It's the same thing with games. That's how you know when they sell and they don't sell. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't give a fuck if they say, oh, yeah, but it was number 1 on the VG charts. Yeah, but that could mean it sold only 10,000 copies and everything else sold less than that. It doesn't automatically mean that it sold 100,000, 2 million. You get what I'm saying, my brother?
Yeah.
And that's the concept people don't get. VG charts is not telling you straight up, oh, it sold 200 million copies this month, which I know is an exaggerated number, but no, that it could mean that it sold 50,000 copies and it was the highest selling game for that month in the district of the United States. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what people don't get. Now, when we know when it's higher than that, when you got numbers like Call of Duty, that in one fucking week, it did almost $1 billion. Now, we know it sold well. But what did they do? They announced it immediately
Yep.
because that is the standard. And then the problem with that, so Alex, is that he has that PC mentality, right?
Mhm.
Where they think everybody making games on consoles are self-publishers making these smaller titles that they're paying for themselves, right? That's what self-published means.
Right.
And the reality of it is that out of 200 games that come out, 400 games that come out, maybe in 2 months, 3 months, or in a year span,
Mhm.
maybe 10 are good. The rest is all shovelware.
Right.
That's one of the main reasons why this generation, since the OG Xbox, the Xbox One,
Right.
since the Xbox generation, PS4,
Mhm.
that's why you notice that in the store we have a lot more games that are garbage or shovelware.
Right.
And you'll see games like that GOAT game be like $60 when it should be really 10 because they're self-published. These guys are trying to make money, and they're the ones that say, "Oh well, we want to price it at this price," and then Microsoft says, "Okay, that's up to you," and that's why they don't get involved because it's self-published. And then when the games don't sell, they're wondering why. Oh, my game didn't sell. Nobody bought it because you overpriced it, and
Mhm.
there's not enough quality control there for warrant people's purchase. People are not just going to buy something for $60 just because it's a new game. No, it has to have some type of quality. It has some type of um, longevity to it that you're going to be able to get your money's worth. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
And
with you completely.
that's the problem, and that's why you see so much more garbage because it's the truth on the store because it's self-published. There's no control. And that's that PC mentality. They think, oh yeah, developers make money, the companies pay them. No, they don't. That's why they create physical copies. But when they make those physical copies, they don't make enough money anymore because they're too expensive and they have to pay the middleman. What do I mean by the middleman? Even if it's a first-party game, they still got to pay distributions to get them out in all countries, international fees, storage fees. They have to pay shelf space. They have to pay the different stores certain percentage for carrying it in the store, right? Because that's how it works. That's how they make money. That's why they give them a discount when they buy in bulks, right?
Mhm.
They have to pay the people that make the box. They have to pay the people that make the box art. You get what I'm
Yep.
trying to say?
Yep.
All that stuff is a cost. So at the end of the day, plus pay the developer and then take their cut, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, they end up getting maybe 30% of the actual revenue because obviously the developer gets the bigger chunk. They get about 30% from the 100%.
Right.
If they're lucky, maybe they get 40 if it's a bigger game. All that other 60% goes to everybody else they have to distribute it to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why digital has been pushed so hard. Because the digital copies, there's no middleman. It's just the publisher and the developer. And then on whatever platform you put it. So if it's a developer and publisher that's owned by Microsoft, they get flat out the whole entire thing. All they got to do is divide the earnings with the developer. And how do they do that? By paying them their pay rate, their salary when they make, that they pay them.
Yep.
That's how it works. Now, if it's a third party, then they got to pay, let's say Ubisoft, right? And let's say it was Avalanche Studios that did the game, right? The developer.
Mhm.
So they pay Ubisoft and Avalanche, and then they take like 20 or 30, 25 to 30% because it's in their store.
Right.
The rest of the 70 or 75% or 20 or 70% goes to Avalanche and goes to Ubisoft. It's a bigger cut. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why the growth has been so exponential because it's a bigger cut. That's why you see developers, oh, yeah, we love the digital market.
Mhm.
We're glad it's growing, that it's healthy, and it's helped a lot of games with game sales because that's how they make money. And then people are like, well, it's not my problem to worry about what developers do and make money. Oh, really? That's an asinine answer because you see people say that shit. I've seen it several times.
Right.
If they don't make money, how the fuck they're going to keep their doors open?
They can't.
Exactly. It's a simple mathematics.
Yeah.
If they don't keep their doors open, right? How the fuck are they supposed to stay open and make more games? Especially when they're just spending, let's say in the case of Callisto Protocol, right?
Mhm.
I think they're owned by Embracer, right? Or something like that. I
Yeah.
think. but they're still like an off branch of Embracer, right? So they're not like fully owned. These guys do phenomenal work, right?
Right.
And people are just talking about how they don't like the combat, how the game's too hard. Yes, because you motherfuckers, in most cases, are used to playing games that hold your fucking hand like little kids. Because that's what most games do nowadays. But
Yeah.
yet you see the hypocrisy with Elden Ring. Oh, Elden Ring's phenomenal. I love dying 500 million times. The satisfaction after you beat somebody when I died 200 million times is so phenomenal. Stop the bullshit. Cut it the fuck out. You're not gonna sit there and tell me with a straight fucking face that you died 600 times before you beat this one boss because of all the tedious way of beating and playing that game, right?
Right.
And then come and tell me that you satisfied after you die 600 times. Don't give me that bullshit. You just doing it because you want to prove something to the people. Oh, look, I beat the Elden Ring. I beat the the Demon Souls. I'm a gamer. I play hard game. Nobody can beat me, right?
Right.
When those games are not about skills, those games is this by design. You have to die.
Yeah, and what's funny is that time after time after time, every time one of those Dark Souls like games come out, there's always reports on how very few people even beat the first boss, much less beat the whole game. And then the
Exactly.
ones that beat the whole game, for some reason, they be so far up their ass about beating it, they look down on other gamers for not liking them.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a crazy mentality because they're trying to act as if, okay, if I beat a Souls games, right?
Mhm.
That's because I'm ultra skilled and I'm more skilled than you, motherfucker. When the reality is, it's not. It's a learning curve because it was designed for you to die. Because if it was so hard, then you wouldn't see people exposing the game and beating the game without even killing a master. They go through here or some shit and they'll do these fucking cheat codes where they could beat the game in like 15 minutes.
Right.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You can't try to pull that shit with Ninja Gaiden. Put Ninja Gaiden on and see if you're gonna be able to expose that shit and pass the game, unless you really actually play it and have to do the work.
Oh, you ain't doing that in
You
Ninja
ain't never
Gaiden.
gonna pass that shit. You gonna stay in the same level for the rest of your life because you ain't not gonna pass that game,
Nah.
especially if you're playing in the hard. There's no fucking way, and that's why I tell people that those games, by design, are made for you to die, and it's a learning curve. You got to either level up, figure out what magic to use, figure out what armor to use, figure out what potions that you need. And if you notice when you do the combat, it's always the same shit. Swing, swing, thrust, roll. That's it. For any weapon you use.
Right.
It doesn't change. It doesn't have different combo move, combat with different weapons. No. It's the same thing every weapon. And if you have a shovel, if you have a stick, if you have a sword, if you got a malice, a mace, it's always swing, swing, thrust, roll. You get what I'm saying? And then magic. You throw magic. That's it. Or run away, because that's another thing. You got to run away if you're not ready to fight these characters.
Right.
So again, it's by design. So again, that's why I try to tell people that they're used to having games that hold their fucking hand. So to get to the point, because I completely veered off. They're dogging on Callisto Protocol when it's a phenomenal game. It's probably one of the best games that came out in a long time in the genre, right?
Yeah.
And in a long time as a whole in the industry, right? Like things like Evil West,
Mhm.
right? That you played. Things like even Gungraven. It's a little hard, got nuisance, but it's old school, right? It went back to the roots, right? Solstice, right? Things like Solstice.
Right.
Or, Gotham Knights, even the combat system in Gotham Knights, right?
Right.
And that's the problem. People are dogging these games because they don't have the skill to actually play these games. And then they want to blame it on, the developer didn't know how to do the work. The combat, the way they constructed it was sucked. That the game feels broken. That they need to do a better job, make it more accessible. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Those are not reasons to say a game is bad because it's hard. That's the whole reason why gaming exists. It was the challenge.
Mhm.
The harder it got, the more skills you had to obtain. That's
Yeah,
the whole point.
I always find it funny when people treat Dark Souls like the hardest games. That's
Mhm.
how I know you didn't play them late 80s, early 90s video games.
Right,
Because those
right.
games are so hard, man. They'd ruin your day sometimes. They're so hard.
But you had one man.
Even
You had
even
one man
yeah,
sometimes.
even games like the Lion King for the Sega
Oh
Genesis.
yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
game was so hard.
Extremely
That
challenging. Yeah.
he about almost 30 years later, I still remember rage quitting Lion King back in the day. It was so hard.
Right. Right. It was
And
because it was real challenge. It makes you learn. It's about your skill set,
mhm,
and you have to learn how to play them. A lot of them have different patterns that would change on you, or
yes,
or platforming that you had to figure out a certain way how to do it. It was always about learning your skills, bringing up your skills with Pac-Man, whether it was Pong, whether it was Tetris. So Annie, I'm waiting for that. It's always about learning and getting better with your skills. That's how you become better in games as they come along or come out, right? Or came along. You know what I mean? I like try to beat a game like Shinobi and like we used to go in the arcades with one quarter, three lives, and have to pass five worlds with three stages in each world, which is a total of almost 25 levels or
yes.
20 levels, right? With one quarter and only three men, and you see. So that's why anytime you obtain like an extra man or you got enough points
Mhm,
to get an extra man, that shit was like music to your ears. That was part of the
yes,
challenge.
yes,
You see what I'm saying? But
yes.
that just made you a better gamer overall. These dudes, you see with the Sony games.
Oh,
You
them
see the
Sony
fucking
games.
God of War, it'd be like, the light is there. Atreus, I think you have to shoot a spear to the light. And it tells you.
Oh man, I had to get a collection of clips I saw on Twitter of people who recorded themselves playing it, and all of them reacted the same. Sony, just let me play the damn game. Like the hand
Right.
holding, that stuff is insulting to me when the hand holding is that.
It's annoying.
Yeah, that it's like that prevalent. And the crazy thing is the Sony games in general are all like that, where for some reason either the protagonist or whoever's with you don't shut up and just
Yeah,
tells you
yeah,
what to
yeah.
do.
Because they try to make it into banter, and then people are like, "Oh my god, isn't it great how they communicate? It almost
Yeah,
feels like you're
but
there,
it's not
like
even
they're alive."
banter. It's
Yeah.
not even banter when they just straight up tell you how to solve
Um,
a puzzle. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like banter would be like in Gotham Knights when you're in the Belfry and they're talking to each other, joking around and
Yes,
stuff. That's
yes.
banter.
Yeah,
Banter
100% right.
banter is not you get to a puzzle and Freya from God of War Ragnarok's like if you throw the staff, that's just flat out telling me what to do.
That's a tutorial, but just doing it indirectly, basically.
Yeah, and the
It's
whole game,
guiding you.
yeah,
Hmm.
the whole games be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and it's wild because people they like, oh no, they're not. They're so challenging. Yeah, they challenging in the sense that they do things like, for example, like when you fight the Valkyries,
Hmm.
they're challenging because the Valkyries, and if you're not leveled up, she's gonna eat you alive, and you can't take energy away from her.
Right.
That doesn't make it difficult. That just means you got to go grind in the game, doing smaller quests to build up your armor, get an armor that's super powerful, and you come back and you beat the shit out of Valkyrie with no problem.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's just part of the tedious process. That doesn't mean it's difficult. And
Hey,
I hate when they try to like, yeah, it's real difficult. You crazy. Let me see you fight the Valkyrie. Blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, be honest and explain the reason why and how it works.
right. I'm
Each
not even sure if
Valkyrie
they
is
know how
higher
it
and
works.
higher in level, and you got to get a higher level of armory to be able to fight them easier. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. It's just that simple. It's to make you feel like you doing like the game has so much content that you got to go back and do all this grinding to build up. Look at Gotham Knights. I maxed out my character,
Hmm.
and I didn't even know there was a cap on it. So
Yeah.
I kept doing the little side shit because I was addicted to it with the with the chest.
Right.
Because like I told you, it felt like me when I played Crackdown, collecting all of
Hmm.
the orbs and shit.
Yep. Yep. I
It
know
kind of had
exactly
that
what you
feel
mean.
to it. So I was addicted to that shit. And my son's like, Pops, you know you're wasting your time. I was like, what do you mean? It's like they capped that shit. You can't go after over 30 and get experiencing points,
Uh,
right?
unless you do New Game Plus. When you do New Game
Right
Plus, it
until
goes
you
up to
beat the
40.
game. Yeah, he told me. I didn't know that unlimited. So I kept rocking and rocking and rocking. And I was just wasting my fucking time. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I can't get experience points. What the fuck?
See what I did after in Gotham Knights after I maxed out Nightwing, I went ahead and started to unlock stuff for Robin,
Yes.
Batgirl, and Red Hood.
Okay.
That way, when I start my new game plus, they're gonna have all their moves and better
Oh,
costumes
you
and
know
stuff
what?
like
That's
that.
actually smart. I didn't
Yeah,
think about that. You
yeah,
basically, once you saw that it was maxed out, but see, the thing is, I didn't know there was a 30 level
yeah.
30
You
cap
just
cap
playing,
cap or
yeah,
whatever in the 30s or whatever.
yeah,
I think I'm 37, level 37. I think it is.
yeah.
I think that was the cap right there. That's the highest I went with
Okay,
Robin. See, if I would have known that, I would have done what you just did. I would have started with playing now with such a.
yeah,
But then wouldn't it be harder because now all the enemies are harder? Yeah, probably. I don't know. I
yeah.
beat the game though. I beat the game. I
Oh
had
yeah,
fun.
I love you already know me. That's my game of the year right there. So you
Yeah,
already
it's
know
a good
me.
game. It's a good game. I
Yeah,
wish they had less like um time, like less things to do, like as far as
mhm,
the smaller stuff, because they kind of feel minute.
right.
Like the little side stuff. But
Yeah,
I guess that's the way they make you immerse in the city of Gotham. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And that could have been done without me. Maybe I thought that was a little overkill
Mhm.
when they made you fight what's his name, Man Bat. They made
Yeah,
you
yeah,
fight him
yeah.
like five
At the
times
end.
and shit.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, 3 times would have been enough for five.
Yeah,
Damn, it just
yeah.
felt like
Yeah,
overkill.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's right. There was a lot of man bat on that last mission. You're right.
Yeah, yeah, on the last mission.
Yeah,
But
but from how it is. You know how I am. He about when I enjoy a game, I'm just all in. I just enjoy the
right, you're
experience.
just playing it, right, right.
Yeah.
But
So I
see, I think it would have probably been less noticeable if they would
mhm.
have just spread it out. Like if you
Yeah,
would have
yeah, yeah, yeah.
met Man Bat early
Right.
on,
Yeah.
and
Good
then
point.
later on you fight him again. Then later on you fight a higher level of him again. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
wouldn't have been so apparent. I
yeah,
think kind of
yeah.
like what they did with all the other bosses, because it's the same way with the other bosses. The only like Mr. Free, you fight them
Mhm.
twice, but it's
But
way later. It's
yeah,
not right
exactly,
away. You know what I
exactly.
mean? And then when you fight him the second time, he's in a fucking tank for Christ's sakes. Like,
Yeah,
what
man.
the fuck? How am I supposed to fight this motherfucker?
Yeah,
That
that
was the
boss fight.
joy I had when I was playing it. I was
Yeah,
like, the
I
joy I
like
had was, how the hell am I gonna fight this motherfucker now?
I like the second one. Except, see, I play games. I like to play games on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, I
We
noticed. I
played it
noticed.
on
Yeah,
hard,
so.
right? That second one took me like 40 minutes, and it took me forever to get his health down. That fight was made for co-op.
Oh, I could imagine. Yeah, that's
That
another
second
thing.
one,
You notice a lot of parts in the game, you can tell the game was designed with co-op in mind.
right? Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
definitely can tell. I guarantee you, if let's say me, you were playing it in co-op, we would have been having a blast because
Yep,
it's designed that way. Like when you're fighting the guys, you can distract and then beat the shit out of them.
yep.
Somebody sneak them from the back. You know what I mean?
And you could do double team moves and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah. Let me address the comments real quick. Just got a few of them. Uh, what's up, Fire Boss? In the mix, man. In the mix, he really been in the chat. What's up, guys? Hey, what's up, man? Phil Spencer and Brad Smith are on Friday. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute too. Halo Infinite has unlimited content. Yes, it does. They shadow dropped it 3 months early, and no sound. There's no sound on your end because we could hear each other perfectly fine.
Right, right. I mean, that happens, but just let us know.
Yeah,
You know what? They keep shadow dropping too much. All these fucking good independent games coming out, man. It's pissing
yeah,
me
yeah,
off.
yeah. They also be dropping these damn sales. There's a $20 sale right now on the
Mhm.
Xbox store, and I was looking through it. I like, I might pick up a few games.
Oh, Darius, you know
Binary
my
domains like
cover
$5.
cancel,
Yeah,
dude.
there's some good
Careful.
stuff on that sale.
Shit, they shadow dropped that fucking new game that's supposed to be like an homage to Ninja Gaiden for the NES.
Uh,
But you're with a robot. It's called Bot Gaiden.
hold on, bot gated. Let me see if I can find that. Is it on Game Pass?
No, they just threw it on the store. It's on sale for
Okay.
like $2. What happened? What happened?
Oh, I see it. Yeah, bot gating. Wow. Yeah, this
It
looks
looks fucking dope, the art style and everything, but it's basically Ninja Gaiden but with a robot.
yeah,
But it looks dope, though. It looks
yeah,
dope.
I love that art style too.
And they fucking shadow dropped last week the Ruby game from Way Forward. It's a 2D side scroller, but from the that anime, the Ruby,
Right.
that Rooster Team did, I think it was.
Yeah.
But it's for Way Forward. Way Forward does great stuff. They're the ones who did the Double Dragon Neon
Hmm.
and all that stuff. I need that. And then tomorrow, I think it is. They're shadow dropping one. The next couple of days, they're shadow dropping Jitsu Squad, which is that beat 'em up that has Maximilian in it that they drew him, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. And then next week it's supposed to be River City Girls 2.
Oh yeah, I played the first one on Game Pass and loved it. So
Yeah,
I
it's
can't wait
fun.
to play. I can't wait to play River City Girls 2. That was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
great beat 'em up. That game right there,
It
man.
was fun. And it had good soundtrack too.
Yeah, it did. You
It had
know,
a solid soundtrack.
yeah. Now I'm not super into that anime style, but that mix of anime with the 2D sprites that also look good. So yeah, I'm
Well, it
gonna
was
definitely check out River City Girls 2.
yeah. It was it's a reimagination of River City Ransom,
Uh huh.
but they included the two chicks as the main character. And then as you're playing the game, if you remember correctly, you unlock the two main characters that were in the original game, the dudes, the
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
And then they help you out and you can swap while you're playing it as well. And it has
That
like that Scott Pilgrimy type of, vibe.
yeah. That's exactly
So
that's
it was
exactly
good.
what
I
I
liked it. I enjoyed it. All right, there is.
Yeah. Let me also get my thoughts on the Xbox things, man.
Sure.
Um, yeah. So like I said, I called this 2 years ago. So this doesn't surprise me. You know what I'm saying? It's also,
Mhm.
I also think
But it was a good call. It was a good call. You know what I
yeah, it's
mean?
just that. Listen, man, you don't have to be a fortune teller, Hebot, to understand where the
Absolutely.
industry is going. And my issue is as usual issue at Hebot. My issue is that people are just so reactionary, right? They want us to be upset at Xbox for literally being the last major publisher to raise their prices, right? Ubisoft raised their prices. You know that me and Erock are Ubisoft fanboys, basically. Ubisoft raised their prices. EA did. Activision did. You name them. And not only that, they were selling cross-gen games. Microsoft was the only ones who were not selling their cross-gen games. If you got the
Yes.
Series X version, smart delivery. That's it.
Right.
That
Right.
was it. And and
Yeah.
so and so so that now that the time's coming, they raised their prices. To me, it's just like, oh well. First of all, if I can't afford Starfield next year, I'm still going to play it thanks to Game Pass. And
Yeah.
let's not, and people like, oh no, it's Alex and that other dude, PC dude, trying to pretend. Well, that's not an excuse. I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm using it as common sense. It's an alternative
It's
ability
a
to play my
reality.
day.
It's a reality that exists.
Yeah,
They're
it's
acting like Game Pass not supposed to be mentioned. Like, what do you mean?
right.
Look,
Like
let's be fucking honest, 100% with what you just said.
mhm.
You know what this is gonna do now?
What?
It's just gonna thrive up the Game Pass subscriptions.
Yeah.
That's all it's gonna do
Yep.
because more people are gonna be like, well, damn, I don't always have the money to buy the games flat out day and date at
Mhm.
that price, especially if there's a couple of games that come out sometimes, right?
Right.
Even if it's a couple of games that month, not necessarily that same day, because that also happens.
Right.
So let's just subscribe to Game Pass. I'll play it there. If I have the money, I'll buy it. And if I don't, I'll just get it when I can, when I get the money, or when it's on sale.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the whole reason why Phil calls it. We want to give the players options.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's unbelievable how these guys act like what do you mean? Game Pass? That's just an excuse for people that want to be cheapskates and not buy shit. Like, dude, they just said
Wait.
that
So
Game Pass grossed them 2.6 billion since they created it, right?
right.
Which completely proves that it's been making them money head over heel, even though the way that we were accustomed to, right, that we were adapted to was, no, you go out, buy the game, and physical and or digital, they won at that price, and that's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
You know, let me add to that, man. I find
go
it
ahead.
funny. I find it funny every time somebody tries to bash Game Pass.
Mhm.
I guess they don't have Netflix subscriptions. I guess they don't have Disney Plus subscriptions because
Right.
by their logic, because by their logic, you can't enjoy entertainment unless you buy it, which obviously isn't true. And two, people like you and me, Heba, we buy everything anyway. So
Mhm.
let's not sit here and pretend that there
That's
aren't
facts.
millions of us. Let's not
That's
sit here and
facts.
pretend that there are millions of us that's like me and you who even when we play games on Game Pass, when we see a physical copy, yeah, we'll pick it up just to have it
That's
in
a
our
fact.
collection.
That's a
All right.
fact.
Just past on Black Friday. I bought the medium that was on Game Pass. I bought
Yes,
Psychonauts
I
2,
did.
the physical
$15, right?
version. Yeah. Psychonauts 2 was
Mhm.
on sale out for like $20, I think.
$20. Yeah,
I
yeah.
picked it up to add it to my collection physically.
GameStop had crazy sales on physical games.
Yeah. So usually GameStop's the weakest ones, but this year
Yeah, this
they
year
had
they
some
were the
great
best.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I agree. I agree
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and that's just 2 games just this month alone that I bought off the top of my head that were on Game Pass that I bought physical just to own. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It-
because first of all, they don't stay in Game Pass forever. That's
yeah.
number one. That's the other argument that I never see people bring up.
Mhm.
Unless it's a first party exclusive, it's not going to stay on Game Pass. Like Gungrave.
Yes.
Gungrave is not going to stay on Game Pass for 5,000 years. It'll probably be there for 3 months, 4 months. They'll take it out, and then when they take it out, they're like, oh my God, why they took it out for? Dude, it's a deal. They made a deal with the developer to pay them up front a certain amount of money, put it there to see how it does and bring attention to the game.
Yeah.
You see that nobody's talking about Gungrave, barely anybody. You probably were one, me definitely, and I probably see maybe 2 other people on Twitter. Nobody's talking about the fucking game.
Right.
So if they don't put it on Game Pass, nobody's gonna notice it. Shit, one of the guys that likes it saw me pull up the physical one, right?
Mhm.
And he said, like you asked me about the Klonoa. Oh, I didn't even know they made Gungrave physical on Xbox. I said, yeah, they did. It's all over the place. You can get it in Amazon, Target, everywhere. But again, it's the communication because people only pay attention to stupid games like God of War or Call of Duty. And when I say stupid, I'm not trying to say that they're not relevant. Meaning they only pay attention to what the whole other fucking world is paying attention to.
Yeah.
But yet they call themselves
whatever
right.
the IGNs or some big streamers playing, that's it.
Right. And then they want to call themselves gamers. Meanwhile, there's only people like myself and you, right? Because I got to commend you for being your age, right? Of 32 or 35, whatever it is.
32.
Okay.
I don't know. Zink out there thinking I'm older than I actually am. Half the
Right,
time.
right. But that's okay because you're what we used to call an old soul in a young man's body.
Mhm.
And what that means is you're very wise and you have a very broad way of thinking and very open to a lot of thoughts, right? You're not closed in like most kids
Right.
or people your age. They're like set on one way and that's it. You understand what I'm saying? You're not like that. You're open to conversation. You're open to new thoughts. You're open to understanding other things, whether you agree with them or not. You get what I'm trying to say?
Right.
And that's what defines you. And that's why we have so much respect for you. That's why you see how E-Rock has respect, me, saying. So when we call you older and when they say you're old, I think it's just a habit because when you're around you and we speak with you, we don't think we're speaking to a 32-year-old.
Right.
Because you don't come off that way. You don't carry yourself that way. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's something you should just be proud of. Don't ever take it as an insult. Just be proud of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't taking it as an insult. I just found
No.
funny.
I'm just saying. I didn't say you were. I'm just saying.
Yeah, every time Zink says my age, he always make me seem older than I am.
It's always a different age every week. Yeah. 1 week is 35. The next week's 40. The next week's 43. I know exactly what you mean. I know. Zink is funny like that though.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to say about your age that
Mhm.
what we were talking about
Only
oh
owning
my god,
the physical versions of Gungrave Gore and all that.
right? What I was trying to say was that you are kind of an anomaly, right? You're like my son, the way he is with movies. My
Mhm.
son is an old soul when it comes to movies because he can appreciate a black and white movie more than something that came out today
Right.
because he's about the art form. He loves cinema, right?
Right. Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say. You're an anomaly. And my son is only what, 28, right?
Right. Right.
So he's young, but he has an old soul when it comes to the art form of cinema.
Right.
That's the same way with you when it comes to games. So you and myself, right?
Mhm.
You'll notice the Solstice, you'll notice the Wanted Dead, you'll notice the Jitsu Squads,
Yep.
you'll notice the Evil West, all those games way before everybody else even talked about it. And you had it on your radar. Like the other stuff that we know that's coming out with those that one game when they're in the sand and it looks like they're riding on these big sand creatures and they look dope as hell. And you know that they showed like a while back in E3, like
Yeah.
those games you'll notice and you pay attention to, right? And you'll
Mhm.
keep your eye open to it. Most of these dudes that claim to be, oh, I'm a gamer, they only pay attention to the God of Wars, the Horizons, the Uncharted's,
Mhm.
Mario's, the Halos, the Gears, and that's it. And then when you tell them in their face, they act mad with you because they're like, oh no, you're not a gamer because you're not playing these games. Only real gamers play these
Yeah,
games.
they love that phrase.
You know
They
what I'm
love
trying to
that.
say?
You're spot on. They love that real gamers play this phrase.
Mhm.
And what do I always say, Hebot? If you enjoy what you enjoy in this gaming world, listen, on the Xbox, people don't realize if you the Xbox One alone had what 3,000 games,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's between AAA, indies, double A's, however you want to classify them, right? About
Mhm.
3,000 games. Do you realize do you realize the amazing variety just from the Xbox One generation alone you get?
Yes.
The 360 had over 2,000 games as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
the Xbox, the original Xbox had over 1,000 games in its complete library, and
Mhm. Mhm.
now the Series X could play all four generations of games, including every single
And one
Xbox
hood.
One game,
On the
right?
one hood, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so to sit there and to try to define gaming as just these AAA blockbusters to me, it's just crazy.
Mhm.
Listen, my second favorite game that I've played this year was Solstice because it was a classic hack and slash style that I dearly miss. Right? Because
Right.
we don't get Ninja Gaiden style games anymore.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
get Dante Inferno's type games anymore. Where
Anymore.
yeah, where you do
Which,
the
by the
core
way, that's the developers of Dick Callisto Protocol.
the same ones that made Solstice?
Yeah, they're the same guys who did Dante's Inferno.
Oh, Dante's Inferno. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm only saying it not because maybe you probably knew about it.
Mhm.
I'm saying it for whoever listens to the show.
No, I didn't know that until now. Actually, I
Oh
it
yeah, yeah,
did.
yeah. They're the ones who did Dante's Inferno. Yeah, yeah. All their games they've ever done,
Mhm.
masterpieces, or at least high up there to feel like a masterpiece. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. Well, all right. Well, on the topic of Callisto Protocol, let me ask you
Mhm.
this because I've been so busy. I actually didn't. I just only saw bits and pieces on Twitter. What was up
Yes.
with the? I guess Sony sent some developers to work with them or something, and I
Okay.
saw some people try to blame. I don't know, blame them for messing up the performance. I haven't bought the game yet because I just can't afford it at the moment. So I
Right.
don't know. I don't know the ins and outs.
Well, here's the thing. There's a couple of factors. Number one, they were doing the game for even the last generation, right?
Right.
But keeping in mind, the game is pushing the Unreal Engine forward to its limits and even have some small assets of Unreal Engine 5,
Right.
right? And
Hmm.
like I said to you before, remember when we had this conversation
Hmm.
that I felt that something like Cyberpunk should have just stayed next gen, even though there wasn't enough people, because
Hmm.
having it cross gen is what made the game have a lot of issues,
Right.
right? And that's not because they didn't put the effort into it. It's because they're trying, it's like trying to fit 10 people in a 5-seater car.
Hmm.
You get what I'm trying to say? If that analogy makes any sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can't force something. Yeah, you might get them in there, but they're gonna be tight as fuck.
Yep.
They're gonna be hurting each other, choking each other out, like fuck, kicking each other in the face, because it's a 5-seater and you fit 10 people in that motherfucker. You're gonna have to put some of them in the fucking trunk.
Right.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing to trying to create a game that's pushing boundaries to work on hardware that could only do a certain amount of thing. And I get it. A lot of people were in those older hardwares and on the older consoles. I get it. But the extension of any hardware should be no longer than 2 years for cross-gen.
Agreed.
Because once you hit that 2-year mark, you know you're going to start getting into deep with the games that are actually starting to push the envelope.
Yep.
Right? And the only way to tackle that is by giving the developer the liberty to actually concentrate 1,000% on those set versions.
What
You got to do them for the other ones. Now it becomes a distraction, right?
Right.
But they're under contract, so they have to do it, because if they don't, you're going to get in trouble. And then they got to meet the deadlines on top of that. So that's the reason why I feel they didn't do the embargo of the game earlier, because they knew what was going on with certain things. Now, is the subject of the game being broken, taken out of proportion? Absolutely. The only place where it actually should be talked about is on PC.
Right.
On PC, that shit is unplayable because it's so badly optimized. But what ended up happening was you end up finding out that Sony paid to have over 150 employees to go to Callisto, the actual developers. What they're called, the developers, Eric? I forgot their name because they changed their name. But you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you can get their name unlimited, you let me know. I think it's Striking Distance.
Yeah, I think so. I know it's something with an S.
Okay, so we get the point. Okay, they send 150 employees of Sony because they have never worked with the technology of mocap that they use for movies ever before. This is the first time. So those people helped them because they use Sony's tech that they use for movies for the mocap. That's why the game and the characters in the game look so motherfucking lifelike, right? That's number one. Number two, Sony paid for a marketing deal for the game.
Got you.
Meaning they're going to have all the new stuff or certain stuff exclusive or first on their hardware. So what I put up on Twitter was, listen, let's use common sense. It is clear that by what's going on, that the game's not running on PC, and that is because it's on PlayStation 5, right? It's running 4K on PS5, ray tracing on, with all types of reflections, nothing missing, and better frame rate. Right. You're gonna tell me that if they got that running on the PS5 like that, it's not gonna run like that on the Xbox Series X or on a PC running a 980? That it's super more powerful, more superior hardware with better memory, faster loading, faster CPU? Are you serious?
Right.
That just tells me using my common sense, like you like to say that we like to tweak things with coherence and clearance and clarity and try to make logic out of it, right? That just tells me that, one, they had to prioritize the PlayStation version because of the marketing deal. Two, the animators weren't sent over there to pay to make the Xbox version better. They weren't there to make the PC version better. That means whatever work and workload was done for the PC or Xbox version was just striking distance by themselves after they finished the PlayStation version.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say? So they had to pick up the load. So basically, it's like an unoptimized port. That's basically what happened. And so people are like, yo, you're bugging. The PS5 hardware is superior in every way. And they keep pulling that nonsense because, of course, like always, digital fuckery and people like fucking Mushmouth, right? They always make sure that when the PlayStation 5 has an advantage in any way, because something is not right or something wasn't optimized correctly, they put it out there so fucking push that PlayStation 5 is still a great console
they get
agenda.
they get so hyperbolic whenever PlayStation has a slight advantage. It becomes when Xbox has an advantage, it's just a slight advantage.
Right.
When PlayStation has an advantage, wow, it looks so wonderful on it, doesn't it?
That's why I had my discussion with the retard Red Dragon. Because Red Dragon just likes to put up shit to piss Xbox gamers off.
Yeah.
I know what he does. He don't care about this shit. He just does it to get a rise out of them. And I already know his fucking ass and what he tries to do. He ain't fooling me. So what I told him was, you're really going to sit there with a fucking straight face, being a PC guy yourself, and say that the Xbox Series X is not superior, that can't run the game correctly, or the PC itself, when you know goddamn well it's running perfectly fine on a PS5, when it's far less hardware?
It's funny. It's funny. If you took 100 games, 95 of them would run better on Xbox. But everybody only focus on the 5 that run.
But the 5 that run better, that's all people want to talk about. Yeah. You're 100% right. 100% right. Because like I told you, it's the same idea where when these guys be like, oh, if you're not playing God of War, if you're not playing Mario, if you're not playing Bayonetta, if you're not playing Halo, if you're not playing Uncharted, you're not gamers, because those are the games that are worth playing. Those are the real games. You see what I'm saying? It's that same logic. Yeah. When we all know that's bullshit, because real gamers play all games and all genres. A budget of a game has nothing to do with the enjoyment or the quality of a game. Because I could name you 20 games that came out this year alone in the indie market that have better gameplay, more fun factor, and more fun value and longevity than any of the PlayStation games that came out this year.
Games like Evil West and Solstice alone are more fun than.
That's what I'm saying. Horizon. Absolutely, gameplay wise, Solstice Combat and Evil West, they should have God of War, something like that. Oh no, they don't. Yeah, you're fucking crazy. You're bugging.
No More Heroes 3 is a lot more fun.
Exactly. No More Heroes 3, a perfect example. That's another game that you noticed, I noticed, I'll play it, and yet these other fools are like, oh, that's not a game. When you mention games, and I'm like, oh, you're playing, then they'll go and show you Metacritic scores. Okay, got a 40. That's what you're playing, garbage. I'm like, listen, bro. The fact that you're trying to say that a game is garbage based on Metacritic shows us completely what we need to know, that you're not a gamer.
Yep.
Yeah, no gamer defies his experience and love and fun of a game based on another person's opinion. Please stop it. Because I may hate the shit out of an RTS, and you might love the fucking shit out of it.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Yep. Look at stuff like Telltale's games. I've been so clear all these years. I don't like Telltale's games.
Right.
There are people like E-Rock. People like E-Rock. He loved that. What was that game? As Dusk Falls.
Yes, she did.
I couldn't get 5 minutes through it because it's not a game for me. I'm a gameplay guy. Story and games matter very, very, very little to me in the grand scheme of gaming.
The story for me, like for somebody like me, and I guess it's like that. I kind of get the vibe that it's like that for you too. Mm-hmm. Story is an icing on the cake if the game is fun and has a lot of good gameplay.
Yes.
It's like icing on the cake. Yep. Like when it has good music, another icing on the cake.
Yep.
Or the cherry on top, right? Yep. That just makes you more immersed and enjoy it even more, because on top of having great gameplay, fun factor, fun gameplay, damn, it's got a good story too.
Yeah.
Damn, it's got good graphics. Damn, the music is fire. All that just makes it a better experience, and that's how you be like, damn, this game is worth every penny.
Yep.
When you have the whole full package. But it starts with the fun factor of the game. If a game don't drive you in and get your interest right away, at least in the first half hour, the first 45 minutes, trust me, I don't want to hear that shit of, oh, but it gets better 16 hours later. I don't care. I don't care if it gets better 16 hours later. I'm not playing a game for 16 hours to then try having fun. No, they should have put that part first and made the game fun from the very beginning. I don't care about that. I don't care. I just lose interest. I don't care about story. I don't care how good it looks. I don't give a fuck if everybody's sucking the last nutsack out of it. I don't care. I will not play it. I'll refuse.
Yeah,
I just won't.
And for me, see, that's my issue with a lot of Japanese games, because they start off unbearably slow,
extremely slow,
and just they do stuff like this, and it drives me crazy. You get a long cutscene. Oh, cool. Back to the game. You walk 5 steps, another long cutscene, and then before you know, it's 2 hours, and you're still at level 1, and you barely
Yes.
done anything. And
Nino Cooney's like that.
yeah,
Exactly what you said. When the game starts, okay, let's see the story. The first cutscene is like 45 minutes long. Okay,
yeah.
fine. Then you play it. You fight one boss battle. It takes you 5 seconds to beat on 5 minutes. Boom, back to another cutscene. Now this cutscene's an hour and a half.
Right. Yeah,
Then you 5 minutes, and you got another cutscene.
I beat that game, Lost Judgment, earlier this year. You know, and it was
I
the
remember you
spin-off
told
of the Yakuza game, and it was driving me crazy how long the cutscenes were. Because
Yes.
when I actually got to play the game, it was fine. You know what I'm saying? But then you fight one boss. Here is I kid you not, my controller was turning off during some of the cutscenes for so long, and I'm just like, come on, this is I want to play. I buy games to play them. I don't buy it to watch it. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said sometimes, you've heard me before say it. Sometimes it's better, if you're going to make the game like that, just make a movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's my problem and my disdain, to be honest with you, with Kojima. I fucking hate Kojima games. And it's not because I don't think he's an artist and I don't think he has great ideas or any talent. The man wanted to be a movie director.
Right.
That was his whole trait.
Right.
He happened to fall into gaming by kind of accident, like a happy accident, right? And kudos to him. He's made a great career. He's made money. He's become a legend in the industry. Fine. But all of his fucking games are like his self-indulgence to himself.
Yes.
Right? Not to the gamer, not to the world, to himself. And they'd be like these long, dude, when you beat Metal Gear Solid on fucking PS3, I swear to you, the ending's cutscene was like an hour and a half long.
Yo, Metal Gear Solid 4 on PS3.
Thank you.
That's one of them games that got 10 out of 10s, 10 out of 10.
Yes.
80% cutscenes, 20% gameplay. No game that's 80% cutscenes, it means anything to me. All right. I don't care if they're Shakespearean actors. It's a video game. Let me play the game.
Dude, if you appreciate it, then just watch it as a movie.
Yeah.
Don't call it a game, because that's when I get insulted. That's why I say their games are more like they're built to look and feel like a movie. And then the gameplay is just not enough. That's what they did with The Order.
Yeah, and listen, Sony games in general tends to feels like
yes.
the movies featuring gameplay instead of a gameplay with good cutscenes.
Like the gameplay is the last.
Yeah, it's the least important aspect.
Right, it's like the last thing they put effort to. Right,
yeah.
They concentrate on everything else: presentation, mocap, actor voiceovers, story, graphics, and then the gameplay is like the last thing they actually pay attention to.
And then what ends up happening is that you get pretty games that are dull and
like Horizon. Horizon.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate when I see these guys be like, I finally got to be Horizon. I know it took me long, but what an amazing game. I'm like, why don't you say the truth? The shit was fucking boring. It took you a long time to beat it because it felt more like a chore instead of you having fun. And stop capping. Stop with that. It was an amazing game because it had a good story, or because you finally got to beat it and everybody else is gonna now look at you like you're this great person because you beat a PlayStation exclusive. Cut it the fuck out. Cut it out.
Yeah, hey.
That's why I love games like Gears, games like fucking Quantum. They had story, they had cinematic moments, but they don't overdo it. They don't overdo it, and they don't overstay its welcome. They give you enough, but then they give you what you need the most of, which is gameplay.
Yep. They put you back in the game where it's what matters most.
And you never lose the feel of being in a game. It's a balance. It's always balanced correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And the thing is, the balance should always be gameplay first. You know what I'm saying? Gameplay first.
Absolutely.
Let everything else falls into place, like with the graphics based on whatever art direction they want, right? So something like Everfield or Everwild, I mean, right? It looks like it's going to have a gorgeous gameplay. It's not going to be photorealistic, and that's fine. That's not the route they go into. I respect that. Hellblade 2, however, has a realistic graphics that works. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, as long as they're fun, you know, that for me, I've always said if a game is fun, I could forgive pretty much everything
Well,
because I
last generation. Last generation. And I don't mean to cut you off, brother.
Mhm.
Last gen with the Xbox One. What was my favorite game? It was one of your favorite games. It was fucking Sunset Overdrive.
Yep,
I fucking love Sunset Overdrive.
same
What
here.
was another game that I love that people looked at me like, yeah, you stupid. I don't like that game. Loco Cycle. I
Yes.
fucking adore that game.
Yep.
Because, okay, yes, it has simple graphics. Okay, yes, it's a smaller title. But it does what it's supposed to do. It's a video game at its essence, at its core. You have driving, you
Hmm.
have fighting, you have beat 'em up sections, you have Street Fighters 2 style segments, you have Thunderblade segments.
Extremely
You got,
creative.
you have a wave racing segments.
Hmm.
The game throws all types of genre, including QTEs, including cinematic moments. It throws all types of genre at you while you're playing the game and giving you the story.
Right.
It changes up so many different times. You never feel bored.
Yeah, exactly. And let me give a shout out to Aurora of Time.
Mhm.
She says, I'm about 5 hours in the new Saints Row. I'm loving it. It's a
Right.
ton of fun. Might be one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. And that's what I like to hear because I've been defending Saints Row since it came out. And the reason I
Right.
was defending it because I was having a blast with it. I didn't
Well,
have any.
I saw my son. Go
Mhm.
ahead. Finish what you were going to say.
Yeah.
And I'll add to what you said.
Yeah. I was having a blast with it. You know, if I make a top 10 video game year list like I usually do around this time, it's gonna be on that list too because it's just a fun game. Put me in a nice, fun open world. It doesn't take itself seriously, and the gameplay is so fluid and fun. I think
Hmm, hmm.
people I don't know why the gameplay didn't get praised because I thought the gameplay
Because
was just
this is what I saw my son play it, right?
Mhm.
I saw immediately that the game looks like it has good fun and a lot of like variety when you're playing. But the problem was is they put some woke elements in it, I guess,
Mhm.
or LGBT elements and stuff like that.
Well, no, not
People, which
even
is not shoved down your throat. I know
yeah.
that. But
It
what I'm
was more.
saying is,
It was more like the right. Okay, I'll say this: the writing was legitimately bad and cringeworthy in the sense
right,
that
right, right,
they do talk like your stereotypical millennials type talk. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
But here's the
But
point:
even that wasn't as bad because
overdone. Right?
once you start building up the
Oh, you looking
Saints
for my phone?
because in the game you're pretty much rebuilding the Saints Row gang, and once you start doing that, all that
But
stuff
that's what I'm trying to get
even
at
goes
with
out
what
the
you're
window.
saying, with what you said. But here's again, but it'll go down to our point because then that'll make us look hypocritical.
Mhm.
Yes, the story might have been cringy, very millennial, even some leftist shit or whatever, or woke stuff. But the core of the game didn't miss. It's about game play, and it's fun. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that stuff should be overlooked in the sense that it's not worrying about that stuff first, not making that priority number one, the way that Sony games do sometimes, right?
Yes.
Where they
So
give you an actual,
Sony
they
games
give
try to
you
be
a whole
having gay sex
DLC.
scenes.
They give you a whole DLC about Ellie's relationship with her
Mhm.
girlfriend, and they're both teenagers. How does that make us look as gamers that are 50 and 40 years old, praising two teenage girls that one's supposed to be 16, the other one's supposed to be 17, about how they have their sexual life and sexuality?
I thought they were
That made
like
me feel
10.
like a pedophile.
I thought they were 10 in the games, man.
No, listen, I'm not even joking.
Oh,
That shit made me feel like a pedophile. I'm like, what the
oh,
fuck?
no, man. That's wild. That's wild right
That's why I
there, man.
said that kind of nonsense didn't need to be there. That should be a choice where when the player is playing, while you're playing the game and you're involving your character, you have a choice. Oh, you want to be gay? No problem. You want to marry same sex? No problem. You want to have 15 wives? Okay, no problem. But it should be a choice
All right.
because when you're playing it as a gamer, and it's shoved down your throat that way, it turns people off. It gets people mad
Mm-hmm.
because you're disrespecting their beliefs. It's not about not respecting other people's beliefs. It's you're disrespecting their beliefs. You're shoving it down their throat, and that's not cool,
Right.
right?
Exactly. And let me just address in the mixed comments here. He said, what he said? He said Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 5 still story heavy, but yes, Metal Gear Solid 4 was egregious. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 was a movie, not a video game.
Yeah.
The Metal Gear Solid 4 was the last in the trilogy, so Kojima was trying hard to tie up the loose ends. Dog, you gotta find better ways to tie up the loose ends than an hour and 30-minute cutscene at the end of the game.
Dude, he
No,
has a game that has like 30 hours of cutscene and still the content story ain't connected yet.
right.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. All right, man. And let's talk about this last topic, Hebot, and we're gonna call it a
Sure.
night. So
No problem.
earlier tonight, Phil Spencer dropped a tweet out here saying that Microsoft has entered a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo following the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King. Microsoft is
Mhm.
committed to helping bring more games and more people however they choose to play. He also said, I'm also pleased to confirm that Microsoft has committed to continue to offer Call of Duty on Steam simultaneously to Xbox launches. And then last but not least, I want to bring up Brad Sims here because I think he's the one that really got people who got people's skin. He said our acquisition will bring Call of Duty to more gamers and more platforms than ever. That's good for competition. Hold on, let me finish. That's good for competition and consumers. Thank you, Nintendo. Any day Sony, listen, this is the best part. This is the best part. Any day Sony wants to sit down and talk, we'll be happy to hammer out a 10-year deal for PlayStation. That part, the final part was my favorite part of it all, man.
That is funny. Well,
Yeah.
listen, look. As an Xbox fan, my selfish side says no. Just keep it on Xbox. Let people buy an Xbox. Absolutely,
Yes.
I admit that. But especially that they're going to own it and they're paying a lot of money for it.
Mm-hmm.
But my logical part understands that Call of Duty is bigger than Xbox. It's bigger than PlayStation. It's bigger than Nintendo. Call of Duty is a brand, right?
Yes.
So the fact of the matter is, if you give people the option to play it on other platforms, they're going to feel comfortable and happy about playing it and buying it where they feel comfortable at.
Right.
That's all this is about.
Right.
And this is Microsoft basically throwing shade at Sony and making them look bad in the public because Nintendo's going to play ball.
Yep.
Because Call of Duty hasn't been in Nintendo for a long time. You understand?
Right.
And now that they're promising that, we'll let you at least have it for 10 years. And Nintendo's like saying, yeah, let's go. And then you got Brad, the guy Brad, right? That you said, Brad Sam, whatever his name is.
Brad Smith.
Smith, right? Saying, oh, yeah, we are committed. And you know what? Sony, if you want this deal, we're here. We got you. It's to show people how ignoramus, right?
Uh-huh.
And how disingenuous Sony really is. That's basically what they're doing.
Yes.
But they're doing it in a really flamboyant and clever way, right?
This is kind of what I've asked from them for the longest. You know what I'm saying? You know, cut the BS. It's okay to call Sony out. The world doesn't end. Let the Sony fans do their 3-hour podcast. Let Colin Moriarty do his 4-hour podcast tomorrow, trying to be mad at Brad Sims. But hey, he's right. You know what I'm saying? Anytime listen, they offered it to Sony and they turned it down. Cool. It's not their problem. And look, man. Here's the thing. It's not Xbox fans. We're still going to get benefits from the Activision deal. We're still going to get exclusive content for them. How do you know this? Because Brad Smith said that earlier this year. Spencer says that in every interview. You know, and it's like see what goes on. He bought. And you in the same way that you're saying that people only care about certain games, your Call of Duties, God of War, whatever, they only pay attention to certain things that are being said in the Activision deal. So they're missing all the other stuff. They're missing the fact that they clearly said that we're going to have exclusive content. If it's not Call of Duty, it just means the next Crash Bandicoot is going to be the next.
Well, the first exclusivity we got is that Call of Duty is going to be on Game Pass. We know this. It's going to be there. What does that mean to us? We don't have to worry about buying it day and date.
Yep.
Anybody else outside of us? Guess what? You don't want to buy an Xbox, right? You don't want Game Pass, right? Then you got to buy the game day and date.
Yep.
Whether
Now,
you have the money or not, whether you lost your job, whether your wife left you, whether you're not making the same amount of money, which whether you had a thunderstorm or a tornado ruin your whole house and now you got to rebuy everything again, whatever the case may be. I'm just trying to be exaggerated about the
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Whatever the case may be, you have no choice. You want a PlayStation, you got to pay $70 because that was your decision. Xbox guys don't got to worry about that because we're going to
Yes.
have it on Game Pass, number one. We're going to have the maps and skins first
Hmm.
for a while exclusively. That's number two. So it's going to be a win-win regardless. Plus, they make money out of any copy that sells outside of Xbox.
Yep.
And that's how they're seeing it. Now, does that mean that every Activision title is going to be on every
Nope.
platform? No.
It's quick. Listen, if it was every Activision game, they would literally say we're bringing
would've been
all
said it.
Activision. They specifically said Call of Duty, so that tells me all I need to know.
Yeah,
People.
because
and by the
Microsoft
way,
knows, like I said, they know Call of Duty is it's a part of culture.
yes,
It's bigger than Microsoft. It's bigger, and I don't mean of what it's worth. I meaning about how everybody knows what it is. Everybody relates with it. You get what I'm saying?
yes. And look, Hebot, you don't become the best selling game every single year for 15 years without being a part of gaming's pop culture.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely,
it's
100%
listen,
right.
it's not like one of the best. It's not like top 10 every year. No, every single year, Call of Duty is the
It
best
still
selling
comes at
game.
number one, even if the sales drop. It still comes in at number
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
1,000% correct.
yeah,
Yep.
and all they're doing is saying, okay, listen, all Phil did is say, okay, if we're not going to have exclusive, let's make as much money as possible. How do you do that? Put it on a platform with 100+ million users like Nintendo. Now, I don't know how the fuck they're going to make Call of Duty run on the Switch. It might
Would
be like
probably
Guardians
be
of the
my only
Galaxy.
fear
It'll be.
because I
I think.
hope
I
I
think it'll be like
hope
Guardians of the Galaxy Hebot, where it's cloud only or something
stream
like
right
that.
cloud wise
Yeah.
right because I hope they don't like sacrifice the Xbox version right or the other console version because
Yeah.
they're more powerful just to appeal to the Nintendo. But I think since that cloud streaming has worked for Nintendo, like you said, like Guardians, I think that's what their idea is. Well, if it's worked so far with all these titles, it's just going to get better. Let's just do it this way. We'll put it
Yeah.
on your platform, but it'll be streaming. And Nintendo's like, okay, fuck it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I know they cut a nice deal with Nintendo to get it done. So hey, look, this is just gonna be a win-win. Plus, if you were, it would have been nice to have Call of Duty exclusive as an Xbox fan, sure. But at the end of the day, I don't even like Call of Duty. I don't listen.
Me neither. I'm not
I
a Call of Duty
own,
guy. I'm not.
know
Yeah,
how many
100% right.
you know how many Call of Duty games I own? Zero.
Probably zero.
Okay, so
I own them all, but that's because my son's a big Call of Duty fan. But
right, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I played some of the campaign ones that I like,
Mhm.
and I've beaten them. Like my favorite was World at War Part 3.
Right.
World at War was amazing. I love that story, but it was because of the authenticity of it, right?
Right.
But
See, my
I'm not a big fan. Like if I don't play it, I don't die. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, exactly. See, my excitement for the Activision deal is this: high studios like High Moon Studios and Raven
Yes.
Soft, they could finally stop being Call of Duty support teams and go back to making the awesome games they used to make.
Like they used to make when they made fucking things like Dark. What was it? Dark. High Moon Studios did the one with the Western one that was a first-person shooter.
Oh yeah, Dark Watch or something like that.
Dark Watch. That game was so dope. They can go back to more creative things and do new things if they want. You're talking about the opportunity that's going to be at hand because now they have freedom.
Yes.
It's going to be different. I know exactly what you mean, and that's
Studios
the way
like
everybody
Raven-
should be looking at it, huh?
Yeah, studios like Ravensoft used to make the Marvel Ultimate lines and X-Men Legend
Yes.
games.
Yes. Yes.
Just such an amazing track record their studios have that were eventually turned into COD support teams, right?
Right.
And the
Mhm.
fact that era is coming to an end, that's the reason I'm excited. Screw
Right,
Call of
right.
Duty. Give me all them. Give me the era of Activision that was making all them other games, man.
Yeah, the realm of possibility with all new ideas and IPs, and even bringing back older properties that haven't been around, that have been dormant,
Yeah.
that they can re-release and make them better now because of technology and opportunities.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean.
strike a deal with whoever owns Transformers and bring back this War for Cybertron trilogy to
Series,
Xbox.
yeah, make another one. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I
you
agree.
know
I agree.
that's what I'm in it for.
Yeah, I
Screw
agree
Call of Duty.
wholeheartedly. Absolutely, absolutely. Remember, they published so many games that were good, and people just can't get their hands on no more. Like like Deadpool.
Yeah,
Deadpool was a very underrated game. Yeah, was it a game breaker? No, but it was fucking fun. It was great.
yep,
Fantastic dialogue, good graphics, great gameplay,
yep.
different game. That's another game. Perfect example that they used the third wall system within the game to add different gameplay styles in the game
Yep,
with the third
yep.
wall.
Yeah, and how about this? How about this? Use Beanox to make a superhero game for Xbox. Boom.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Go to WB or Marvel. Say, hey, what superhero can we get a contract for? Let Beanox make a superhero game.
Yes, because they already proved that they were the ones who did the staple for Spider-Man. I'm sorry, you Sony fanatics, but if you haven't followed Spider-Man games, you will know Beanox was the one who put the staple in the Spider-Man game the way that it is today, as we know it. Because Insomniac Games, I'm sorry to tell you, they didn't add nothing new to Spider-Man. All they did was make prettier graphics. That was it.
Yes.
And made it, with that cinematic feel. And made, obviously added more cinematic moments because it's a more expensive project and than before because Marvel obviously they're the ones who put up the money. But
Right.
if you look at the core of the game, they did nothing that wasn't done by Beanox first. They adapted everything Beanox did.
Yep.
Everything.
Especially the way the controls and gameplay worked.
Oh yeah.
Aura of Time said they need to make a Teen Titans game. Man, do you know what I would get for a Teen Titans games, Aura?
That'd be dope.
Yeah,
That'd
I'm the
be dope.
DC fanboy of the group here, so I'd be all over that like I was Gotham Knights. Man,
Dude, I would love to see if they could make a Masters of the Universe game with He-Man and all his friends.
That would be awesome.
You know what I mean?
Too. Use
like an action adventure hack and slash.
Yeah, man,
in the style of God of War and the style of that, Dante's Inferno, but make it with He-Man characters.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking fantastic.
Use them or Thundercats.
Thundercats is another great IP that they can use.
Has
that
Thundercats
would work.
even ever had a video game?
No, I don't think so at all. No.
Which is weird because that show was popular back in the day.
It was super big. Yes. Dude, there's so many games they can make if they really wanted to bring nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Silverhawks, Galaxy Rangers, a bigger Voltron game. The last Voltron game they made was the one on the Xbox 360 arcade, and it was a fun game, but it was small. It was a small game. I own it. I loved it. I still own it today. But again, it opens up so many realms of possibility. So I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you 100%, and I get what you're saying as far as the messaging. And that's what people are not paying attention to, and that's the sad part. People are just worrying about, but what about Call of Duty? Well, listen, do you know what this means for all these people if they get hired and they get owned, and the possibilities of what they can do, and for all these developers that haven't been able to do shit but Call of Duty because they were in contracts and they were tied down? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, it'll be so many opportunities. Like, it's not even funny, to be honest with you.
Hey, look, man. And another thing that this does, listen, I haven't wavered one bit that the Activision deal's going through. But for some reason, a lot of the so-called Xbox fans, they're like, no, it's 50-50, 45-50. And I'm just like, no, it's going to go through. This solidifies it. If they're already making deals with Nintendo and Steam and Valve or whoever, this solidifies. Listen, sometimes, like I said at the beginning of the show, to know where the gaming industry is going, you don't need to be a prophet. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta pay attention. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
This right here, this should shut up all the Sony fans that wanted to be stopped. This should shut up everybody. All right,
dude, Nintendo. They're basically telling Sony, oh, you don't want to make a deal? No problem. Make a deal with Nintendo and make money with them. Did you miss out if you want.
Did you see that MBG dude? What he said? It was hilarious.
Oh no, I didn't see it. It was probably something.
He said Sony is going to buy EA out of spite.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I'm like, so Sony's worried about one game leaving their platform. Now they got money to buy EA. All
EA,
right,
right?
pal.
Dude, these guys don't understand. The reason why Sony look, they just bought another game publishing right to have it exclusive. Another third party. They did it yesterday
Oh, what game was that?
from one of those games that we were been looking at for years that's supposed to be coming out. I think it's called Lost Souls. Lost Souls. That was a game that we've been seeing for a while. They bought the publishing rights to be exclusive only on PlayStation. Another Japanese company or Korean doing these deals because that's all they could afford.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do these deals to make their portfolio look better and bigger and broader, while Microsoft is still stuck trying to deal with the Activision shit because they keep making it a delay for them to finish it off. I know what they're doing, dude. The last month, what did they do? Project Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one? Silent Hill, right?
Silent Hill, yeah.
Silent Hill, Project Eve, right? And there was another one. It was another game. What was the other game that they're going to have exclusive, Darius? When they announced it with Project Eve, it was another one. Was it The Last Ronin?
Yeah.
I know they have Last Ronin. They have Forspoken. It's Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 7 Remake. All that shit. They keep doing all these little deals with third party, and nobody's calling their bullshit out. I remember last generation, right? Xbox One gen. And everybody was like, oh, Microsoft just keep making these third-party deals and they're not bringing no AAA games from first party.
Right.
That's all people kept talking shit about, right?
Right.
When they didn't have studios, they had to buy. And then when they started buying them, oh, Microsoft just trying to monopolize the industry, right?
After saying they should buy more studios.
Right. But yet when Sony didn't have no AAAs from first party and they had nothing but indies, remember? We love the indies.
Oh, I really remember.
We're all about the indies. They talked about Resogun for like 3 years.
Yep.
Right? And then as soon as they were able to bring out more first party, then they started talking shit. Oh, yeah, we're all about AAAs. We're not about the indies, we're about the AAAs. What are you talking about? Indies. We don't got time for indies. That's for little kids. And nobody was talking about it. Everybody was praising, oh, see, Sony's about that AAA, blah, 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 blah. Now, the wheels are turned. All their big games came out. They don't have nothing else. I already said it because they didn't never officially announce no Ghost of Tsushima 2. They didn't officially announce no Days Gone 2.
Oh, that's not coming.
Not saying that they won't come down the road.
No. Days
never...
Gone 2 was turned down. I remember.
I know, but you know how they could always change their mind, especially if they want to get that nostalgia shit or that perception shit from their fan base.
Yeah.
Because they love doing that. They love doing that.
And with Wolverine not coming out to 2025,
and you saw what they said about Wolverine.
No, I didn't.
It won't be out till 2025 or 2026.
That's what I was just saying. Yeah, it's not. So they really don't have nothing in terms of first party.
That's what I'm. Well, but Wolverine is not even. It's only considered first party because it's being developed by the Insomniac, right?
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, it's not their IP, right? So that's the biggest difference, right? So anyway, to get to my point, right, to not be so long-winded, the point I'm saying is right now they're banking on nothing but third party. And nobody's calling them out on their bullshit, but yet they're crying about Microsoft buying this acquisition because they don't want to make Call of Duty exclusive. Like, bro, how the fuck? Who the fuck do you think you are? You're making all these little deals with these Japanese and Korean developers because you know they're going to take the money because, you're giving them a big lump sum up front for the exclusivity. So you say, oh, yeah, we'll publish it. But what is publishing? Oh, that's the marketing. That's distribution, putting them in the boxes to create physical copies, shit like that.
Right.
That's what pertains, and commercials. That's what pertains with marketing. That doesn't mean they're paying them the money to develop the game and finish it. No. That just means they're doing the marketing to make sure that people know that it's exclusive on PlayStation or PS5 or whatever. That's it.
Yep. And
nobody's calling them out. But yeah, I guarantee you Microsoft was the one doing it because you remember what happened with Tomb Raider.
Oh, I remember.
That became oh my God, how fucking dare you, Microsoft?
Ryan McCaffrey.
The first one, the so-called face of Xbox. The first one was Ryan McCaffrey talking all that shit. And then when Final Fantasy was made exclusive, This is why Sony's genius.
It's
Because
just
they keep
business.
making this, it's business, and they know how to make big power business moves. Like what? You
Listen,
fucking cop.
Ryan McCaffrey when Final Fantasy 16 was exclusive. Xbox fans, you know, if Xbox did this, y'all would always brag about this. It's just business.
Yeah. It's just business.
A week later, the Bethesda deal dropped, and he shut the fuck up since.
Yeah. He didn't even dare say nothing because he knows he's not stupid.
He couldn't say a word. You know, you know he wanted to join Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller
And the rest of the clowns, and Justin Legary too.
Yeah, on hating it, but he couldn't. He couldn't because just a week prior.
Look, Dustin changed his whole tone, or try to play the two faces of one side when the call of the Bethesda deal went through. When that happened, that's when everybody started being like, "Oh, wait, hold up! I'm an Xbox fan. What are you talking about?"
Destin Legary.
I like what Xbox is doing. Yeah, Destin Legary. That's what I'm saying. As soon as they did that Bethesda announcement, you know what I mean?
Legary was the most blatant, man, because he straight up said, "Oh, I'm an Xbox fanboy." I'm like, "All right, pal."
My brother, Unlimited. Let me tell you something, and we can call it a night because I know it's late. Dustin Legary will forever be held on blast, having this fucking thumbnail where 1080p is better than 900p.
Yep.
And he can never deny that because he was the fucking first one talking shit about it last gen. Yep. Which is another funny factor. How people are now trying to say, "Oh, but Callisto's better because it has better performance on the Xbox, right, or whatever, right, or on PlayStation, or no, I think it was for Need for Speed Unbound. I think it was. It had better performance in the frame rate, right? But yet they're not. They fail to mention that it's because it's running like 1440p. Meanwhile, the Xbox version for the Series X is 1080p. I mean 4K, and it has a little bit of dipping issues. I was like, dog, wasn't last gen when every game on Xbox that ran 900 had way better stable performance in the frame rate? But as soon as a game had more resolution, like 1080p on the PlayStation, like a multiplat on the PS4, even though it would dip to like 19 frames, they would say, "Oh, the better version is the PlayStation version because it has better fucking resolution."
Yep, that's what they'd say.
Digital Foundry was the first motherfuckers to say this shit. And now they want to fucking change their tone and be like, "Oh, yeah, well, we would recommend Callisto and all these better because the frame rate stays stable, but yet they're lower resolution, for example, or they don't have like ray tracing, or they don't have better like shadows or whatever the fucking case may be." Like, bro, like you guys don't see that? Like, I know I'm not retarded. I'm not the only one seeing this.
No, you're not. And Zero Power Hill said Xbox just slapped Sony in the face with a 10-year deal with Nintendo. Absolutely,
exactly.
Man. Brad Smith, Phil Spencer, and Satya Nadella all lined up, put powder in their hand, and bitch slapped Sony with that.
And they're laughing. And you know what? You're right. This does cement that the deal is going to go through.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can't make that deal with Nintendo unless it's solidifying that they're coming to a deal ending for that for the Activision acquisition. They can't do that type of deal. Unless it's a 100% thing that's going to go through, they can't do that.
Yep, that.
So this kind of cements that it's going through.
Yeah. Oh, listen. If any Xbox fans, if there's anything I want Xbox fans to learn, develop patience, guys, because we've seen over the last 8-9 years, maybe even 10 years now, that the Xbox strategy is not something that's everything doesn't come overnight for Xbox.
Oh no. You know, with anything in life, to be honest, with anything.
Yeah, but with Xbox in particular in the gaming space, man, you know, nothing comes overnight with this with the Xbox brand, and that's what makes it the best. Because one minute as an Xbox fan, if you're one of the negative ones who are just always doom and gloom and always fall for the narrative, you miss out on moments like this where you know the writing's on the wall, and the writing's on the wall in a good way for Xbox. And over the last four almost 5 years, Xbox has added like 20 studios, bought 2 publishers, and now we got more games and exclusives than we could
Ever
imagine.
imagine, right?
Right.
Right.
In 2021, they had arguably their best year in a long time, maybe ever. Just and then 2023, the first half alone of 2023 has 3 major games that we know of. Right. They got Game Pass, the single greatest service in gaming history. No bar none. That's why they dominate 70% of the subscription market. And now they got a good working relationship with Nintendo. And now literally every single gaming company except for one is against this Activision deal. Everything just tells me what I need to know, Hebot. This deal's going through everything. We're just listen, as I keep saying, Xbox has already won. We're just waiting for everybody to catch up at the finish line.
Right. And I want to add one little thing before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
About the $70 price point.
Yeah.
You realize that we ain't never paid even 60, really, with the exception of 2 games, since the Xbox Series X came out. Because when we got Hive Busters, that was only $20.
Right.
When we got Falconeer, that was exclusive, even though it was for a year, that was like $30.
Yep.
When we got the Medium, that was like $30.
Yep.
When we got Ascent, that was like $25. When we got Flight Simulator, was the only one that was $60, but it was on Game Pass. Right? And then we got obviously things like, Artful Escape, the Gunk. The Gunk was $20. Crossfire X, that was like $25-$30 if you bought both campaigns.
Yep.
Forza Horizon, okay, that was $60. And Halo Infinite was $60. And again, they were on Game Pass. So for all the people that go, they're being greedy, the only reason they haven't charged more is because they haven't had no real AAAs. That's bullshit. Because Flight Simulator, Forza Horizon, and Halo are AAA games. Okay? And they sold them for $60, and they were on Game Pass anyway.
Yep.
And those games still sold well. Forza Horizon 5 sold like 12 million copies.
Yeah, it sold like crazy.
It sold a lot. You know what I'm saying? Halo did a lot of numbers. So that's for the people saying, "Oh, they're showing their colors now because now they're going to bring out their real AAAs." Like no.
The difference is that Halo Infinite is playable on Xbox One. Forza Horizon 5 and playable on Xbox One. Flight Simulator isn't, though. Flight Simulator.
No, you can't.
But
that was
on PC first for a year or something like that.
Oh yeah. But you can't run it on an Xbox One. It can't.
No. No way it can't.
That's why.
Yeah, but the point is, this is, listen, like I said at the beginning of the show, 2 years ago, as you could see, this date right here, September 20th, or September 19th, 2020, I said it, cross-gen games will be $60, next gen will be $70. And the reason why I said it back then, and I'm not pissed off now, I'm not surprised, because it was just easy to predict. Two, Microsoft, unlike Sony, never openly lied about anything or did anything.
No, they didn't.
They're not raising the price of consoles. Okay, they're not doing anything. Just.
And Phil said it. I mean, there's going to be a time where we're going to have to make up for some cost somewhere, but that'll be in due time.
Yeah.
Because remember when they were trying to raise the online shit, that became a problem. So they backtracked on that.
Yep.
And you remember when that happened? I told you guys on the podcast. Don't be mad when something else goes up in price.
Oh, you were
because they're gonna have to make up for that cost somewhere else.
Yep, and you were absolutely right.
That's why they retracted. But they're gonna have to make up for the cost somewhere else because you cannot be spending all this money paying people to put games on Game Pass, making AAA games that cost millions of dollars, and not expect for them to try to take the cost somewhere else. That's why when people say, "Oh, Xbox Live is going to die." No, it's not. You're crazy. That's 65 to 70 million people that subscribe to Xbox Live. You really think they're going to cut that income off? You're crazy. They're not going to do that. No way. Remember, Xbox
Uh, uh,
Live can coexist with Game Pass.
Yep.
That's why you have Game Pass Ultimate, which has both for $15. There's no problem. They could
Uh,
coexist.
Yeah, and guys like oh no, it's Alex who don't know who don't understand anything, but ego is so big because they got YouTube followers.
Huh?
And what he said with his crazy comment. Oh, let me bring up this crazy comment that he said, man, that you
Mhm.
touched on. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. If the price of a game drops from $70 to $40 in a few weeks or months, then the company didn't need to charge $70 to begin with. They could have made a profit at $40. Come on, man. That's not. And Hebot was so correct when he said that it's not selling. So they could break even and make diminished returns. How is it that Hebot knows this, but this quote unquote big YouTuber don't, right? And that's what's so baffling about this statement. Look, guys, I get it. I don't like paying more for anything either. You know, it's been an unfortunate
Nobody
situation,
does.
especially this year with inflation, with everything, the price of everything went up, right? But, but, but in this case, if you didn't see this coming a mile away, I can't help you. I can't help you because everything was clearly important to this. Listen, the last time we had a price increase in games was in 2005 with the Xbox 360 era when games went from $50 new to $60. Then it took Microsoft 17 years for games for new game releases to have a price increase.
Yep.
Don't you think that's pretty damn amazing in the context of look what else has anything else maintained its price for 17 years?
Nothing. Unlimited. Look, you wanna shut it all down? It's this simple. Gaming is a luxury.
Yes.
We don't have to have games. So we can't sit here and complain about companies charging us because it's not a necessity. It's a luxury.
And not only
Bottom
that,
line.
not only is it a luxury he bought, it's a luxury where you do know that you don't have to pay $70 for games, right?
Yes,
It's like, how do you
exactly.
know this? Game Pass sells games on sales all the time. You could go buy used.
Tradings.
Go
You could
buy
trade in
yeah,
things and
go
buy games,
yeah,
save
go
money.
yep,
Mhm,
go buy used. Go find it on eBay. There are plenty of
mhm.
options to get games you want. All right.
Absolutely.
And if you're patient, just wait for a sell, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
the options. So again, none of this stuff is like putting gun. This isn't the case of inflation where you have no choice when you go to the grocery store to buy higher priced foods. You know, you can't find cheaper chicken on eBay. Like, damn, I saw this chicken for $10 on eBay. He bought. Let me pick it up there. You can't do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shit. All right, so yeah, man, you're absolutely spot on. Not
Yeah. The
games are
whole idea of
luxury.
them dropping the game price is so that people will go buy it in bulks because it's cheaper
Mm-hmm.
now, right away, before it becomes diminished returns.
Yep.
So they could break even. That's all it is. That's business 101.
Yeah.
That's all that is. It's like you remember when like when the whole crash happened, right? That you heard about and you've heard about probably and seen in documentaries.
Yeah.
The crash, what ended up happening was what happened. They had no quality control.
Yep.
They had nothing but shit games, selling them for like $60 back then.
Mm-hmm.
And the industry crashed because nobody was buying games because they were bad.
Right.
E.T., perfect example. They were trying to make a game before the movie came out, and the guy and the developer and the creator, literally, they gave him 5 months to make a fucking game. 5 months. And the man made a game in 5 months. Dude, I gave him, instead of all the criticism he got, motherfucker should have praised him for being able to make a game in 5 months by himself under a clause and under a contract.
Right.
Nobody wants to be put in a fucked up position like that. But he came through. He did it. And then that was like the whole last, straw that drew the camel's back, so to speak, where the industry was like, whoa. These games are costing $60, $50 even back then. And yet the game sucks. So nobody was buying games. So nobody, and no developer, no publishers, and no companies wants to have fucking games they just released in the boatloads, right? Like what happened with Last of Us, even though they won't admit it, in the boatloads, sitting in stores, sitting in their fucking warehouse, not getting orders because it's not selling. So how do you make it attractive early in the process? You lower it down as much as you can with at least making a profit to break even and hope that because you brought it down in price, people are going to run to go get it because they're like, oh shit, it's a new game and it went down already in price. Let me go buy it. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's the idea, whole idea behind it. Because when games sell, like I said, unless it's Black Friday, because that's the exception. But that's because Black Friday deals, I don't know what it is. I guess because it's the end of the year, they do these deals with companies and they buy in bulks and different distribution. They probably give them cheaper prices because at the end of the year, they want to get out the old stuff to bring in the new. They are able to sell shit dirt cheap or really cheap.
Right.
But that's only that 1 week of the year. That's
Right.
it. That's the only time when you see unexpected price drops. But if it wasn't after that, you saw the prices. Shit, you were able to buy Gotham Knight literally for $30 on Black Friday. When the fucking Black Friday week passed, you go and check Gotham Knight, it's back to $59.99.
Yep.
Because again, that's the price and the game's still selling. So they're going to keep it for that price. Now, like I said, in the case of Bayonetta 3, a week later it was down to 43 something, or 2 weeks later, because it's not selling. The game was dead on arrival. It was just dead. And I knew that because the first game on the Switch, part 2, what happened? It sold 27,000 copies.
Right.
They re-released it for the Switch. It sold 68,000 copies. My guys, understand that that's nothing. That is not. That's like with Shadows of the Dam when it came out in the 360. That shit sold 27,000 copies.
Right.
In the 360 era when there was like 89 or 85 million people with 360s. That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible. And that's why the games never got sequeled, even though there were fantastic games like Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh, I love that
like
game.
Remember Me, right? Like Knight's Contract. All these fantastic games that nobody played. And then you saw this generation, even the Xbox One generation, when they came out back compat, or when you had shit like Marlo Briggs and you could play it. Oh shit, this game is fire. I didn't know this was on Xbox. Remember that? I remember.
Yeah, that's what they say
I was
every
like, yeah,
time.
motherfuckers, y'all weren't playing games. Y'all were playing companies, bragging rights. Oh, PlayStation's more powerful, or fuck 360, or I wanted to play Call of Duty, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know how many people I see call, oh my God, I ain't know this game was this good. What? I thought, what the game you talking about? Oh, I played Castle Crashers for the first time. Or I played, what was other like Dust. That game Dust with the little ninja, Fox Ninja.
Yeah.
That they made a remaster and brought it out only on PlayStation 4, even though Microsoft published the game for the developer on 360.
Right.
And then they didn't even bring it back compat on top of that to add insult to injury. And then they saw it on PlayStation. Oh, this shit is fire. It's like, dude, that game been out since the 360. No, it's not. Then you show it to them like, what the fuck? Exactly. That's how I know you're not a gamer. Stop.
Yeah, and with that, we're gonna call it a night. Man.
All right, brother.
I thank you. I absolutely thank you for joining me extremely late.
No. It's no problem. I'm usually up, and this was good for me to try to, like, I'm tired now. Like, I could feel like I'd fall asleep. Like, it was relaxing, so it helped me. Now I could go to sleep.
Right. Yeah, man. And everybody, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes,
again,
for sure.
Fireboss, Sega Forever, Aura Time in the mix. And everybody else who watched and comments and everything else. Guys,
brother, Sega Forever. Yeah, I didn't even get to
enjoy the rest of your weeks, everyone, and have a good night. And we're out.
Yeah, have a good night.